Welcome back to Anime Casuals. I'm Lucky.
Here I go! This hand of mine is burning red!
And I'm Michael. Realize the only ones who should kill are those who are prepared to be killed.
Johnny.
Your darkness swallowed up my son? Who decided that?
Erupting! Burning!
Now all of you.
Die.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Anime Casuals. I am Lucky, and yeah, there is no Johnny and Michael today, as we had mentioned in the weekend talk. By the way, if you guys aren't listening to our podcast, go ahead and check out the link tree in the info box or the description box down below, and you guys can check that out. If you guys are listening to us on podcast, you can also check this out in video format on our YouTube channel. Either way, today I thought I would do something a little bit different. Usually when we do casual discussions, usually a countdown of some sort, and I guess to a certain extent, I am going to be talking about, I'm going to be counting things down. I don't know if I'm going to do this in like order or anything like that, but I wanted to talk to you guys about some of my hot takes, right? Now, if you don't know what a hot take is, it's, basically something that you think a lot of people wouldn't agree with you on. It's something that, it's hot, right? Like nobody wants to touch it. I actually don't know if that has anything to do with why they call it a hot take. But either way, these are just a couple of my hot takes about anime in general. Let me start off with one that's actually not... maybe we'll work our way up. So my first hot take, which maybe some of you don't agree with, but I will fight you guys on this, okay? I will fight you. The little girl who is way older than she looks is a creepy trope that I think needs to stop. So why do I say that, right? The main reason why I say that is because I feel like it's just become a weird thing. Like, okay, this is gonna make me sound really bad, but okay, can you imagine if somebody ended up, looking at some young chick that looked like, because I'm not talking like these girls look like they're 50 and they look like 25. No, most of these girls look like they're 10, like 5. You know what I mean? Like it's not like they look like young, like from an old age to a young age. It's like a young age to like a young age, And yeah, man, it's just something really weird about it. The first time I think the first time it ever like bothered me was in an anime called Arifureta. And there's a little vampire girl in there. I think she's a vampire. I can't remember. It's been a while since I watched that one. But yeah, it kind of threw me off. And there's an episode like towards the end where the dude's, I won't spoil anything, but basically the dude's like, oh yeah, no, you don't look nearly as cute as this girl. And it's like, she looks like a kid, dude. Like, listen, not trying to say anything about like the shape of her figure or anything. Like she literally looks like a kid. It's like there's nothing in there that looks anywhere like a woman. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a little creepy, man. Whenever I see that happen, sometimes people's mothers will be insanely small. You'll look at them and you'll be like, oh my god, like is that your sister? It's like no, it's your it's your mom, which, listen, that happens sometimes, right? Some mothers look good out there, but not to the point where it looks like, maybe you had a daughter, So yeah, I think this trope is a little creepy, whenever it shows up. And sometimes I feel like it's a way to justify fan service for this character. Like, oh yeah, no, you're the one with the weird mind. She's 100 years old, okay? She might look like a kid, but she's got some experience. Like, I don't want to hear that, dude. That's fucking weird. Anyway, that's my first one. I don't know how many of you guys disagree with me. Feel free to leave a comment down below. You can always email us at animecasuals with an S, real, R-E-A-L, @gmail.com. And I'll reiterate that towards the end because that's what I do. Anyway, why don't we go over to the next hot take over here. Harem anime are the worst type of romance anime. So if you guys don't know what a harem anime is, it's typically defined as a person. And listen, there's reverse harem and there's harem. I'm just kind of lumping them all in. But on average, whenever I watch a reverse harem, it seems to be a little bit better. And I don't really have too many great examples of that besides My Next Life is a Villainess, All Routes Lead to Doom. Very good anime. Check that out on Crunchyroll if you guys want to check that out. But when we talk about harem anime, typically what happens is there's a key figure, a male, and he is surrounded by all of these love interests, and they all want him, but he, more than likely, he'll only choose one, or something like that. But yeah, I've never really liked harem anime. Like I there's something cool about them, and I still enjoy them because it's anime. I enjoy anime. But when it comes to like the romance aspect of it, if you think about it, it's one guy trying to, with different girls and all that other stuff. I think the first one I ever watched was maybe like Tenchi Muyo, which has like I guess that fits into a couple categories. There's, the sci-fi aspect of it. I don't know if you consider that a shonen, but yeah, there's a couple different ways you can define that one. But in that one, there were two girls fighting over like Tenchi in there, even though he's a fucking loser. At least in the English dub. We'll get to dub versus sub later. But when we talk about like harem anime, right? Typically the one factor, and this happens to be like a very common factor in harem anime, is that and if it's a male figure, but the main male figure, right, the center of every girl's attention, is a fucking loser, dude. Like he is a loser. Nobody can tell me when they watch Rent a Girlfriend, and I'm bringing him up. Get ready for it. Kazuya from Rent a Girlfriend, right? Nobody can tell me when you look at Kazuya, you just see sex appeal and you just see, oh, he has the potential for success. He has this and this and that, and oh my goodness, no wonder he's getting all these women looking at him all crazy. No, it's usually when you look at Rent a Girlfriend, you look at Kazuya, man, it's like, man, these girls feel bad for him. There's sometimes like Mizuhara, the main chick, she like just feels bad for this dude. And that's not really exactly how you want to have a relationship start out. Like, you don't want the relationship to start out with her feeling bad for you. I think sometimes, to be fair, I think that's sometimes a misconception in romance anime. Like, somebody just feels bad for somebody and then it turns into love. I don't think that's a great starting point, but either way. Yeah, dude, and one of the worst, is it the worst offender? I feel like it's probably the worst offender of this is White Album Season 1. White Album 2 is good, but White Album 1 was bad, dude. It was so bad. This dude, I don't even remember this dude's name, bro. But this dude sucked. Oh my goodness, bro. Left his girl for another girl. Then, I'm just gonna spoil for y'all because it sucks. Just ends up by himself, and and then his girl ends up being super famous. And by the way, the song in there is I think it's called White Album. Fucking slays. It's a really good song, especially when you hear the saxophone in it. But yeah, harem animes just happen to be the worst. If anything, I think the best type of romance anime either focus on a select couple or they have a couple different couples. Actually, a good example of this would be Soredore Children, I think is what it's called. I've seen a couple different spellings of it. Because, in that one, they have a couple different couples who have different dynamics, and that's something really cool because in harem animes usually they'll show different dynamics between the male and the girl. So it's a more of the job of the girl to change the dynamic of the relationship. So this guy, there's a tsundere that likes him, but then there's maybe a yandere that likes him, and maybe somebody else that likes him, and it just gets too tiring, man. And most of the time these guys just can't. They just can't carry a show because, like I said, they're trying to appeal to, they're trying to appeal to losers. Let's just be honest. They're trying to appeal to losers who want this fantasy of having a bunch of girls around them. So they want it to be like, oh yeah, you're a loser. You have hope. There's no hope for you. I'm sorry. Maybe that's a hot take as well. If you're a loser, you're probably not going to get a bunch of girls, fighting over you. And so, dude, sometimes legitimately fighting over you. So yeah, the harem anime are just the worst types of romance anime. And sometimes I don't even think they should be. I mean, there is romance in them, but sometimes I just don't think they should be in the same category. So hot take, whatever. Since I had mentioned it, subbed and dubbed. Subbed and dubbed are both acceptable ways to watch anime. Okay, I know this doesn't sound like a hot take because it's like, oh, well, you didn't choose a side. That's kind of the hot take, dude. People usually either say subbed all the way, dubbed all the way. Dub sounds so corny. Subbed, I don't want to read the whole time. Sorry, that sounds like a terrible. Sorry, it's just like one of the most like the worst. What do you say? Like justifications. What do I want to read? Ugh. But listen, I think they're both acceptable. And a lot of times, dude, it can really, like, if you ever on a rewatch, you watched it subbed once, watching it dubbed again really, really kicks a whole new flavor in it, right? One of the best ones that happened with this was Rising of the Shield Hero. Rest in peace to, I think it's Billy Kometz, if I'm not mistaken. I'll put a subtitle down here for the homie, because that dude killed it as Naofumi. One of the best. I was really surprised with his performance of Naofumi, but either way, when I rewatched that in English dub, it was like watching a whole new anime. It was so cool. I know a lot of people have been posting videos online of like the Kaguya dubbed, like the narrator goes fucking crazy. So Ian Sinclair, I think is his name. So yeah, like they're both acceptable, man. And I think we gotta stop being like, there's a lot of like infighting sometimes in anime where it's like, and listen, I'm doing hot takes on here, so I guess I'm sparking fights to a certain degree. But this fight always seemed really, really strange to me. Like if you want to watch anime in the language that you speak, who cares? Because people are reading the anime in the language that they speak. So to me, it doesn't really make too much sense why there's so much infighting. Just enjoy whatever you enjoy. And to a certain degree, I think it's because when we talk about anime, there was a lot of people who didn't understand anime back in the 90s, back in the 80s, maybe like a select few. But it wasn't like how it is. We have to remember this, right? We have to remember that at one point, anime wasn't on top like it is now. Well, it's probably not. It's near the top, whatever you want to, however you want to say it. But I can't just go on. I can't just go out and ask people if they like anime. Like, dude, the first time I got to my job, I found people like wearing anime shirts. It's a pretty casual job, so. People were wearing anime shirts and all that other stuff. I was talking to people about anime. Like, it was great, right? How many times do you think people could do that back in the 90s? Back in the 80s? Ugh, that wouldn't happen. What are you talking about? Anime? Well, you watch cartoons? That's a hot take. But yeah, that we came from that time of, I guess, I don't know what you say, but living in this closet, so to speak. And now we're going to just persecute more people in our community for they're still watching anime. So yeah. And listen, I will acknowledge that there are some terrible English dubs. I'm trying to think of a few off the top of I can't really think of any off the top of my head. There are some bad ones though. Like there were a couple where I immediately was like, no, we're going to sub for this. This is not happening. And then there's some where, I'll give you an example, right? Like Dragon Ball Z, I will never be able to watch Dragon Ball Z subbed. Goku has way too high pitched of a voice, as opposed to Sean Schemmel, who I grew up with. Like, I can't not hear Goku's voice as Sean Schemmel. Like, I can't do that. And you know what? Actually, I'm gonna split off into another hot take here. This actually isn't on my list, so but I wanted to just say this, okay? I think Naruto had a pretty decent dubbed. Okay, I didn't watch the whole thing dubbed. I've only watched up, after Shippuden. Oh, sorry, after Naruto, and then when they got into Shippuden, I think they did a pretty good job. I can't remember the girl who does Naruto, but she actually did a pretty decent job. Like, if you were gonna translate Naruto into English, that's about as good as you're gonna get. Also, Yuri Lowenthal as Sasuke, come on, dude. Like, come on. That guy is legendary, bro. So yeah, I think Naruto, like, yes, he said believe it. We all know about that, but that was back in the Naruto days. I don't think he says that anymore in Shippuden. I think he just like completely stopped saying it. And to be fair, like, it's hard to get to translate some things into from Japanese to English. Like when Naruto says Datebayo or whatever the hell he says, that doesn't mean anything. Like, it doesn't really mean anything in Japanese. It's like a lot of like Japanese anime have that thing where like people will say something at the end of the sentences, and it's like, what the heck? It doesn't mean anything. They just say things at the end of their sentences, and I maybe somebody who understands Japanese will be able to tell me. But yeah, there's different ways of there's not a way to really translate to English, so they were just like, oh, we'll just say believe it at the end because that's Naruto. That'll be Naruto's way of speaking in English. So listen, as much as people like it became a meme for people the Naruto English dub, I think they did a great job doing it, and I don't think that I think that the cast and crew was great. Johnny Young Bosch as Puppet Dude. I'm trying to remember the dude. Sasori. Yeah, I think the Naruto dub was great. Like I said, I didn't watch all of it, but I watched up to like about the 4th Great Ninja War, which pretty far in. I had no problems in there whatsoever. I will say this: Rock Lee's voice actor on and off for me. Anyway, why don't we go? Why don't we go over to the next one? I'm throwing some shade at another anime over here. Clannad After Story. Okay, this is something that I've talked about a lot on the podcast. And I'll listen. I respect it. I think it's cool. I think it's something that I would recommend to people if they were looking for a certain type of anime. However, I will just say this: Clannad After Story is just there to make you cry. There's no other substance there, right? It's just there to make you cry. It's there to build you up a little bit and then drop you down like it's almost like what do you call it? Roadrunner or Wile E. Coyote. I don't know if you guys remember that cartoon, but he would like run off the edge of a cliff, and then all of a sudden, like, it wouldn't be until he looked down that he'd realize that he ran over a cliff, and then once he looked down, that's when he'd fall. That's how it felt like in Clannad. I'm not gonna spoil anything for anybody, but for anybody that hasn't watched it, like the first part of Clannad, right? Because there's Clannad After Story and there's Clannad. Clannad is like very much shoujo anime. Shoujo anime. And it, actually, pretty much a harem anime, I guess, if you'd say it like that. I'm trying to remember right now off the top of my head, but I remember there being a bunch of different girls. And then in After Story, the main character goes with one girl in particular, and it just is a cry fest. Like, it's literally there. And I said this before, and I don't know if this is a great description of it, but it's like a cry jerk off fest. Like, it's like there to like just make you cry, like orgasm from your eyes, right? And listen, I gotta be real with you. That anime broke me, man. But like I said, I just think that they went into like the conference room and were like, okay, why don't we figure out how we can make people cry the most? And they wrote it down. It's like, hey, we'll just do this, and we'll just do this, right? And just went on and on and on and just, pounded it into us to the point where, and then at the very, very end, they kind of were just like, hey, all that stuff, we were just kidding. It was just too much, man. And so, yeah, Clannad After Story is just there for the tears. It's not, it doesn't have a great, it has a good story. It doesn't have like a great story to me. And I think that like people, when they put it up there, because I read it, I think I did a podcast the other day where people like put it in like the top 25 romance anime. I was like, no, you don't put that here. If you want to put it in saddest anime, sure. Romance anime, no, you don't do that. You don't get to get away with that. So, and for my last one, and this is probably the hottest take that I have, and I listen. I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with me, and that's totally fine. You're just wrong. This one is Isekai Quartet. If you guys have never heard of this, Isekai Quartet is, well, it's 4 isekais. It turned into 5 isekais. But yeah, there's a bunch of these guys, and they all end up merging into one world, which is like a chibi location, and they have fun little things going on. And this is where where it starts to get into. I start to get into a little bit more of a hot take. I think that Isekai Quartet is better than the current state of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, I haven't watched Thor: Love and Thunder, but listen, I'm just getting tired of watching, more Marvel stuff and just being like, just having to go see it because I want to, because like I don't want to be behind for like a Marvel film that I want to see, right? The less good Marvel film that I saw was like Spider-Man 3, No Way Home. That was a really good film. But when you're talking about like the Disney Plus shows and the things that they're talking about, I'm like, man, this is weird. Whereas Isekai Quartet, on the other hand, brought 4 shows that probably, I mean, let's face it, man, who else would do this, right? And they just took those 4 shows and they're like, hey, why don't we just make another universe, like a different plane of reality, put Overlord, put Tanya Saga of Evil, put Ray Zero and Konosuba all together and, fucking make a new story. Brilliant, dude. Fucking brilliant. And listen, they did a good job. And here's the thing. Here's the crazy part. They stuck to the source material. Oh, you Marvel fans don't like that shit. They stuck to the... yeah, listen. Isekai Quartet, it's just a big love letter to each one of those series. And listen, some of those series are, on hiatus right now. I think Tanya Saga of Evil is coming back with a season 2 eventually, but I never watched season 1, to be fair. But yeah, listen, it's just this great... this masterclass of how to bring 4 different, because even though they're all isekais, they're very different in nature. And being able to put them all into one thing was just so cool, man. And it was just one of those things, and it reminds me of, okay, this is going to sound really stupid, but back on Nickelodeon, I remember they did this thing called Jimmy Timmy Power Hour. Is Jimmy from Jimmy Neutron and Timmy Turner from The Fairly Odd Parents. And they did this like power hour where they basically switched roles. Like I don't remember exactly, but basically Jimmy has the fairy godparents, and then like Timmy goes over and he has to figure things out. And it was just so cool to see. Oh no, actually no, that's not right. They just go into different into each other's world with their own skills and stuff. But either way, like it was just one of those things where I was like, oh, this is so cool. It's a crossover, man. It's crossover. And I think now that we're in that age of like crossover and cinematic universes and all that stuff, I mean, it's just so cool to see it in anime. I mean, I know some shonen did this back in the day. I remember, I think Sket Dance and Gintama did this back in the day. I know there's Naruto, One Piece, Toriko, and Dragon Ball Z did a cross-platform thing. But yeah, I just think that ultimately, dude, can you imagine a shonen cinematic universe? Oh my god, that would be amazing. But yeah, either way, I just think that sometimes the Marvel Cinematic Universe is a little overrated. And I'll be real with you, I was part of that movement, like, oh, it's so good, I'm gonna go watch it. And then now it's like, I don't even know if I'm gonna watch Thor: Love and Thunder. I'm probably just gonna wait for it to come on Disney Plus and then maybe watch half of it and then go somewhere else for a little bit. But yeah, Isekai Quartet, way better than whatever bullshit stuff that Disney's brought out recently. So yeah, those are my hot take, guys. So 5 or 6 hot takes there. So if you have an objection to any of them, if you have your own hot takes, I'd love to hear them down in the comment section down below. Remember, you can check out All Things Casual at the link tree in the info box down below. Also, if you'd like to email us, you can email us at animecasuals with an S, real, REAL, @gmail.com. But as always, guys, don't forget to keep it casual.